Hello folks, in this video I will show you some no telephone telecommute occupations recruiting right now for 2020. A portion of these are part-time, a portion of these are full-time, yet one of the initial segment time ones is at lionbridge.com, and what you can do is go to join our group at the actual top of the page, and afterward you can look down to either plunderers, annotators, and analyzers, or interpreters and offices. You can land to the principal positions page one way or another, and when you click on learn more it ought to take you to their vocations page where you can see all positions, and what you're searching for is something like a promotions assessor or something like that, and when you find something to that effect it'll be in a variety of nations, typically a variety of dialects. Thus this is an overall organization. You can do this essentially any place. Now you can see that they have a variety of different kinds of positions like information examiner, schooling specialist, map quality expert. A ton of these positions are genuinely comparable. You're fundamentally further developing the web, you're further developing advertisement importance to look through questions, and that's what things like, so you're simply ensuring everything is pertinent to one another, nothing's misbehaving and stuff like that. So when you click on one of these kinds of promotion assessor or web assessor type occupations, this one's for virtual entertainment explicitly, it'll continuously express work from home. Part-time as a rule, as long as 1 hour of the day, so generally you realize you will not need to work a ton. This may be just about as much as 2 hours of the day or so, yet more often than not you don't need to place in more than 10 or 20 hours of the week. PC with a high velocity web association is required. iPhone or Android cell phone that is under 3 years of age for this specific occupation is required. Dynamic everyday client of virtual entertainment familiarity and composed and communicated in English. Elevated degree of social consciousness of things happening in your country. 18 years old or more seasoned. You should be residing in anything that nation you're applying in throughout the previous 3 years successively. And that's what things like, so they only sort of relegate you. Various errands. You will rate the importance and exactness of advertisements and other substance on private online entertainment accounts, so that is only one of the many positions they have accessible. Again, they have a variety of things you can do here, yet a large portion of them are genuinely like that. Like you consider an internet-based information investigator to be another model, assuming that you take a gander at that. Very much like necessities live in the us for the last 3 back-to-back years. Familiarity that language that you're applying for working information on neighborhood and public geographic regions, patterns of what's happening. This one obviously will require insight and skill of utilizing on the web, maps, web crawlers, and web research. Yet other than that, everything is genuinely comparative, up to around 20 hours of the week for any of these positions, and you can make around 10 to 14 bucks each hour. So assuming you're searching for something all the more full-time, you can go to Zapier.com. This is an organization that has practical experience in coordinating applications together, so you can mechanize a ton of things. You can robotize basically any shrewd gadget and make them work with one another, like say a Google Home or Amazon Alexa or something, to have it like turn the lights on at a specific time. Or on the other hand, if you have any desire to say consequently share a YouTube video on your Twitter profile, there's a variety of utilizations for this. Yet to telecommute here you can get click work somewhat up there in the upper right corner and straight up over the sign up button, so then you can look down to the base. They'll have a lot of pictures of like who works for themselves, and that's what things like. And afterward you can click occupations at Zapier. You can go to Zapier.com occupations, and one thing you can search for is a client champion. Now regularly a client assistant's work expects you to be on the telephone, yet with Zapier it doesn't, on the grounds that they essentially do all that by means of email and visit. So the thing they're going to need from you is that you love to compose. As you can see, this is a prerequisite for basically any of these client support type occupations. Says nearly everything at Zapier has done through composed correspondence, both with clients and between colleagues, so they are an overall completely remote work from home organization. Many individuals might experience difficulty seeing each other's pronunciations, so what they do is they basically do all client care and correspondence with the organization by means of email and composed correspondence of other sorts. So to the extent that client assistants to do that, this may be one of the most mind-blowing spots to look at in light of the fact that they have great advantages too. Yet you'll see that their client service is essentially all visit and email. You'll see help clients by means of email or visit to guarantee they have the most ideal experience. So that is in a real sense what you're doing: visit and email. Client assistants, extremely essential sort stuff. And they're searching for somebody that has 1 to 2 years of involvement with some kind of related job to that, to the extent that there are various advantages. You can get extraordinary medical services, dental and vision inclusion, retirement plan with 4% organization. Match benefit sharing 2 yearly organization withdraws 2 magnificent spots 14 weeks paid leave for unexperienced parents of natural or embraced kids. Pick your own hardware. They'll give you anything Macintosh PC or screen combo you need. In addition to any product you really want a restricted excursion strategy. I mean, they have a ton of truly decent advantages here to work for them. So again, you must response telephones. You're doing it all through Composed. It's still client care. One more part-time sort of occupation you can do is that Traverse Dabio. And this is an organization that arrangements with PHP, messaging and calling devices. So fundamentally what you can do is find a new line of work where you should simply click. So when you go to get past Dabio, their professions page is not too far off. Under About Us, when you click vocations, search for task called a dialer screen. So this essentially works. You allows you to work totally remote from home, and what you will do is you will require admittance to dependable web PC or PC, and a mouse obviously. And in a real sense you will like interface individuals calls by tapping on a connection as it springs up on your screen, so you need to click it inside a half second. You can see during a shift a number will show on the screen, and you really want to click it inside a half second, so it's sort of an alternate sort of work, yet in a real sense. Assuming that you need something simple, you need to click now. This can be a quick moving position despite the fact that it's simple, so you normally just work like 2-hour shifts all at once. And that is the way they get things done, so you don't get worn out. So $15 each hour, however paid debilitated leave. Those are a portion of the that is a portion of the pay you arrive. It's clearly distant. You can work from any place in the US, and there they have very little genuine prerequisites of you, to the extent that applying it's for the most part ideal competitors would have insight with through talk directing a dialer, or taking part in a considering system or some likeness thereof, and exhibit revenue or potentially contribution and moderate governmental issues, insight or receptiveness to working remotely, failure to work contemporary hours in light of the fact that other stir gets during key political decision cycles. So this sort of stage is utilized for the most part for huge scope balance correspondence for political missions and different associations. So you can peruse more about that in the About segment here at the lower part of the application page, and afterward they'll let you know how to apply there too. Click the button there on the upper right. And to wrap things up is an organization called Citizen.com, and you can work here and assist with peopling, assist with protecting them, alert them when awful things are occurring, and like fires and different debacles, and that's what things like. So Citizen.com sort of assists individuals with being careful, and they need individuals who can caution their clients when something occurs. So you can go their vocations here at the upper right of the page on Citizen.com, and afterward you can look down and see everything they have accessible. Obviously they'll say to you about organization and all that currently, to the extent that advantages they in all actuality do have medical advantages, investment opportunity, and different things too, and afterward they sort of run down the positions here. So the thing they're searching, to the extent that a work from home occupation is a far-off security-ready essayist, so this is one you can manage without conversing with individuals on the telephone, and what you'll do is cautioning individuals of public well-being crises during your shift, and you might be responsible for a specific area, yet that doesn't mean you need to reside there. Most of the time is spent observing and paying attention to different information and sound sources to gather, process, and make an interpretation of security warnings to a huge number of clients progressively, and assist with keeping them protected. And a ton of times you post these notices via online entertainment, so that is essential for you understand what you're composing, and you're not presumably going to do a ton of just you realize blog entry and different kinds of composing like that. However, virtual entertainment type posts, so you'll screen things like police scanners and alternate methods of gathering information about misfortunes and calamities that are continuing, and things like that, to assist with protecting individuals from to extent that wrongdoing, to the extent that crises terminates anything it is. You'll explore nearby news, you'll practice publication judgment on delicate topics, and that's what things like. So you're somewhat telling clients of the resident application. They search for individuals that have a 4-year college education, are conversant in English. Magnificent essayist obviously is vital on the grounds that that is the thing you're doing, bilingual in English or Spanish, and Spanish is an or more yet not needed 60 or more word each moment composing speed, which you can test free of charge at typingtest.com or at ratatype.com. Strong, clever, and versatile. They additionally like individual who have some kind of composing foundation, like editors, scholars, columnists, ex-writers, specialists, on-call individuals that have managed that sort of stuff as well, to the extent that benefits they incorporate things like clinical dental vision, adaptable investing accounts, took care of energy organization occasions, investment opportunity plans, and substantially more. Additionally, you might need to work evening time a tad, so you'll must have the adaptability to work odd hours in some cases. So additionally, remember that assuming that you're hoping to do this kind of occupation, so other than that you can look into more data on their Glassdoor page at Resident. It'll be Resident NY for New York, and it has 11 surveys up until this point. They're a genuinely new organization established in 2015, so they won't have a ton of audits yet. You can see what's accessible here. 3.8 out of 5 stars is strong, and you can see what representatives are talking about them before you apply. So other than that, ideally this was useful. Simply needed to show you some non-telephone telecommute occupations accessible right currently in fall 2020, and I'll see you in the following video.